Quidditch in Uganda. On this pitch, women and men are equal. Image 1. Uganda's Quidditch team, founded by John Sentamu, has been invited to 3 World Cups abroad but has not yet been able to attend. In John Sentamu's village in Uganda, there is no Hogwarts school of witchcraft and wizardry, no Gryffindor house, and certainly no Harry Potter. But here in Busubi, a richly green village of just over 1,000 people, there is the wizard game of Quidditch. It started in 2013 on a bus snaking through the narrow roads from Masaka, a city west of Lake Victoria, to Uganda's capital, Kampala. Sentamu, a teacher, found his seat partner holding a copy of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and asked to read it. What held his interest was not the tongue-twisting spells or the mystique of The Boy Who Lived. It was the fictional game of Quidditch, played on flying broomsticks, and the fact that it was a co-ed sport. A teacher at the time, Sentamu, had seen firsthand how many parents thought sending their daughters to school was a waste of time. They'd only end up pregnant or married, they said. He himself had been taught by women at a time when their education wasn't encouraged. The Ugandan Quidditch team follows rules set by the International Quidditch Association. There are no broomsticks. The team makes do with sticks gathered around the village. In some people's eyes, women just weren't seen as equal, but he wondered if Quidditch could change that. When Sentamu returned to his village, he gathered a few students to watch videos online. Quidditch, it turned out, had leapt from the page to become a real-life sport, but nowhere in Africa yet. He remembers the children were stunned by the game, but mostly the girls, who had never seen men and women compete together. They were like, "Is it possible? Can girls play on the same pitch with boys?" Sentamu says, remembering their initial reluctance with a laugh that is almost a cackle. "I told them that this is the right time to change people's mindset. We are not going to look at football for girls, football for boys. We are now going to have Quidditch for all." Equal treatment. In Uganda, women and girls continue to face gender-based discrimination and violence. Only 1/3 of women own land, for example. It is our own making that the man is bigger than the woman, Sentamu says, sitting at the vocational center in Busubi he now leads. When it comes to Quidditch, we do the same training. If we are going to run 5 rounds, they must be 5 rounds whether you are a she or a he. In J.K. Rowling's books, 2 teams of 7 players face off on a field with 3 scoring hoops and 4 balls, 2 bludgers, a quaffle, and, most importantly, the winged golden snitch. Darting about on flying broomsticks, players try to get quaffles through the hoops and bludgeon each other with bludgers, as the seekers madly try to catch the bird-like snitch. In real life, of course, the rules are slightly different, particularly the lack of flying brooms. Instead, the team runs with sticks between their legs, but that hasn't hampered interest. Goreth Nakazi only came to know about the sport from the buzz going around the village. After watching a few student games, Nakazi knew she wanted to more than watch Quidditch. She wanted to play it. "I had never seen both sexes play on the same ground. And that system of playing with a broomstick between your legs was my wonder, she says. But it was not just a surprise. It was a confirmation of her beliefs of equality. As a child, she and her sisters felt sidelined, while their brothers were placed at the front line. It was very hurtful to me, she adds. I always sit and argue with the men and tell them it is not like that. But she didn't stop at telling them. She liked to show them, part of why Quidditch piqued her interest. At the time, the sport was only open to students, but as interest increased, Sentamu announced that he wanted to create an adult team. Nakazi has been playing for 2 years now. In Quidditch, we are treated the same. There is no taking of girls as inferior, she says. And her husband, I proved to him that I am even more than some men. So now he is on my side. He backs me in whatever I do, she says. Today they have 3 girls. If he has to remain with the baby while I go for training, he does it. Godfrey Iga, who started playing Quidditch while he was a young teacher, notes its importance in changing his views of gender too. A few years ago, his teenage sister was preparing for important exams when she became pregnant. Their parents decided she should get married after giving birth, rather than going back to school. But after a grueling 2 years, he convinced them, and she is preparing once again for her exams. Sitting on a bench just meters from the Quidditch field, Yiga stares intensely at the rain falling in silvery slants. Equality means not saying that men have to do this and women have to do this, he says. A wizard game in a non-wizard world. Under Sentamu's leadership, Quidditch has spread to 3 other locations in the country, where it is played by around 200 players, students, and teachers alike. The teams follow rules set by the International Quidditch Association. The Golden Snitch, for example, is not a ball, but an actual person who hides before the game begins anywhere in the community. What if the snitch willingly wants to be caught by a certain side? Sentamu laughs at the possibility. Of course you can't rule that out, he says. The neutrality has to come from the heart. But bigger challenges besides neutrality remain. The team has no official equipment. Their hoops, when they first began, were holes dug in the ground, till they started to manufacture some locally. Twice, the team has been invited to the International Quidditch World Cup abroad, but Sentamu says they have been denied visas. This year, they have again been invited, this time to the United States, and Sentamu is working with an immigration lawyer. He draws strength from the impact Quidditch has had on the communities, such as Harry Potter books stocked across the region's libraries, spectators who have come to see them play, and a new primary school set up with help from Quidditch visitors, although Sentamu's biggest win might be shifting views of equality, including his own. Equality to me means that we are all human beings, he says. We must accept that we are all human beings without asking any other question.